Technology is the most powerful change in the world of education.
Everything changes.
Welcome to the Emerging Technologies in Education podcast, delivered to you by Clever Books Company. Dear listeners, thank you for joining Emerging Technology in Education podcast. And today we have Bridget as a guest. Hi Bridget, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
That's absolutely amazing to hear. And I would like to give you the word and the honor to introduce yourself, tell which country you're coming from, and also let us know what you're doing and how you feel about the education and the technology combined.
Great. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Bridget Foster. I'm Managing Director of the Education Technology Industry Network at the Software and Information Association in the USA. We work with companies in the ed tech space around the world. And I have been for many years very positive about technology and education. I've worked with the Department of Ed in California. I was a teacher before that using education in the classroom and worked with a variety of ed tech companies. I've seen technology do amazing things for students, in particular, help them to overcome some difficulties. A great example is ninth grade boys who were very reluctant writers, found the freedom of using word processing and spell check and the ability to overcome difficult handwriting very free. And so I've seen technology do some wonderful things in the classroom.
I do agree with you. Technology is doing a lot of great things in the classroom, and we need to know that facilitator of the process is the teacher, and yes, technology could be a good supplement that can enhance the whole educational process. So, and the next question will come in around technologies in education in general. There is so many buzz around different emerging technologies like augmented reality and virtual reality, 3D printing. There are like all well-known open courses and different e-learning. There are e-libraries and lots of things that could be used by a teacher in a classroom. What do you think, in your opinion, could be a beneficial tool for the process facilitating of education for the teacher in the classroom, or maybe for home education, or in general? It also can be a combination of for you as an adult and your experience as well.
I look at technology as a tool or a resource in the education space, in any space, that allows us to do something either easier, more efficiently, or something that might have been impossible to do in a given space or time. In education, I've seen it do amazing things when combined with other teaching practices. So I'm going to say that I think teachers are instrumental in education, especially in early education, when students are still learning to become, citizens and adults and growing, and that human interaction is critical. But technology can provide so many different ways to make that help reach students in a variety of ways. So whether it's through distance learning and getting a language teacher that they wouldn't necessarily have, or helping them to take an AP physics class they wouldn't get if it wasn't for the technology, or being able to help them read because, a certain type of technology can parse the text so that they can visually see it and understand it, or even entering and helping them to see and experiment with different realms as in augmented reality or virtual reality, things that they wouldn't necessarily be able to accomplish. I think, and I've seen students do amazing things if you let them kind of loose with the technology, things you wouldn't even have dreamed of. So even technology that's designed, for certain types of work or activities, take the simple word processing program, can be used in interesting ways. I've seen students use word processing programs to make pictures, using kind of a mathematical formulation. I've seen them use different types of math programs to do the same thing. So amazing things can happen when students are allowed creativity and given the tools to work with.
That sounds really good. And as far as I understood, you are dealing professionally with different businesses that are in the educational technology space. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more? And I want you to give me your personal opinion. Like you're making a lot of businesses probably that are dealing with the ad tech. And is there any specific, without naming the company, maybe some solution that impressed you that currently was you've seen in the ad tech business space?
Well, just this year alone, I've been really impressed with what's going on with augmented reality and virtual reality. I think uh, with the advent or the proliferation of smart devices, smartphones around the world, putting that what seems like a simple technology, although we know it's not, certainly a small one, in the hands of students, and then adding some simple, components to allow them to use that for virtual reality. I've seen programs that allow iBooks and other types of tablets with augmented reality. It's fascinating and opens up, I think, totally new opportunities. I've also seen, though, teachers take and use Skype and other types of communication tools that now, everybody has access to through a laptop or a desktop in very creative ways. So, I think the one key here is that there is technology in students' hands now, so it's a lot easier. Price points have gone down. It's a lot easier to do something in a classroom setting with tablets that do practically everything a laptop or computer would do. So the easier it is for students to get devices, I think the more accessibility they have, and then all of these wonderful technologies that are being developed on the software and application side can be used for educational purposes.
And that's really interesting, with this emergent technologies, because this is the whole field. And I've talked to different people, and they actually have so many different opinions on the augmented reality and virtual reality. Because sometimes they say like, "Oh, this is an absolutely amazing tool, and it has a lot of benefits of visualization. It has a lot of benefits of dealing with different abstract objects and helping kids to understand the concepts that are quite abstract, and also it's so cost effective, when instead of creating the real lab that could be like really cost a lot of money, you can have a virtual lab through the augmented reality and have all these chemical experiments and science experiments conducted via the app, and see that it's a lot cost effective. But some people are saying like, I don't think it's a good idea, and I think that teacher should be the key point. And the way it was before, and teacher was explaining many years ago, just having himself on the blackboard and sometimes a piece of chalk to write on it, it was the best solution ever. What if you're meeting on your way people who are very cautious or feel like it's outside their comfort zone to use the technology in education? What do you normally tell them?
Well, I think if people look around them in today's world, technology is everywhere. I think new emerging technologies, as you said, are what can be kind of scary and daunting because we don't understand them. But I'm just looking around. I'm sitting here in my kitchen, on my laptop doing this podcast. My refrigerator is a technology, my stove, the lovely little pot that heats my water for my tea, television, a must-have in most households. At all one point in time were technologies that were rejected by some people because they didn't understand them. So I think that as they become more commonplace, people develop a comfort level with them. In the classroom, the one thing that I've seen that has helped technology adoption move the quickest and the most painlessly is when teachers acknowledge that students will have more expertise with technology than they will, just because each younger generation seems to be more adept. And now we have in our classrooms a generation of students that grew up with technology, so their understanding and ability to use it and accept it is very high. And when teachers, accept that and allow students to be their partners in the learning experience and work on things together, I think wonderful things happen. So I certainly learn from my young nephews, and I think teachers everywhere can learn from their students at this point in time when it comes to technology.
Yeah, learning from students, learning from technology, and also facilitating the process. I think it's one of the really great points that you've mentioned there. And taking into account that you're from the US, how do you feel like the person who is not at school, but dealing with the education and technology? How do you feel generally the landscape of schooling is developing in the US? Which way is it going? Is it going closer to technology, and how far it is? Because I've heard recently a very nice saying from one of the people I was talking to, and that person said that it's so amazing that the business is really in the digital transformation age, and really like in the absolutely technology based processes and everything, where about having so many ed tech, and schooling is still in the analog age. What do you think on that, and how do you see how do you see that as a picture based on the example of the US?
Well, and I think in many ways that's true, and it takes time. School districts, especially big school districts, have limited funds, and they have a lot of work they have to do. Their budgets are very diverse, and technology is just one aspect of that. I think, the business world, even consumer world, it is just much more profitable for companies, so they often go there first. Education can be less so, but certainly much more rewarding, and definitely is for the companies that I work with. So I think, but in terms of where we are in the US with technology, I'll just say recently, one of the large states did a textbook adoption last year, which was, they were looking for mathematics textbooks, and they provide a short list to all of the districts in the state to choose from. And half of the districts went with a online-based program as opposed to a book-based program, and I think that kind of generally sums it up. And you think about half of the districts and schools are ready and wanting to adopt content, especially in a technology form or through using technology, and the other half are working to get there. So I think that sums it up pretty well. I think they all recognize, though, the benefits, the efficiencies that are provided, the effectiveness, the ability to go out there and reach students at home and at school and beyond, the usual classroom boundaries. So I think all of the districts are certainly looking to how they can bring that technology into the classroom and into students' lives, into the learning experience. It's just a matter of budget and training and adoption.
Great point. Budget, training, and adoption. And it's all, when it's married together, it's absolutely the key. If you have the training, you're able then to implement the new trained skills in the process of your experience and in using the technology of education. And it's the adoption of something that is really well suited into what you do there. So absolutely right. Thank you so much, Bridget, for your time, and thank you a lot for the information you've shared.
And it was a pleasure talking with you.
Everything changes.